Okay. Hello and welcome everyone. I am Bante Warapanyo, and this is Dragons and Bodhisattvas, an exploration of the Buddhist teachings. This is part two of the class, the discussion, the group event that we had yesterday. This is not really a beginner kind of class or meeting, but if it's your first time, that's also okay. Just try to follow along. And what we usually do in these events is that we start 10 minutes after the live stream begins. So for people who are watching this later on, after it's been recorded, you can move ahead to the 10-minute mark. And that is when we will officially get started. So we'll officially begin at the 10-minute mark. If you are watching after the live has already been recorded, and if you're watching on TikTok, go over to the YouTube channel, which is where it's a much better viewing experience. And the YouTube is called Monk Life, and we are currently live. All right. So for the next 9 minutes, 10 minutes or so, that's a time when we can kind of settle in and get comfortable, and also giving people time to join. People who want to be here, giving them time to join in so that we can practice and explore these teachings together. Okay? And if you do have any questions before we begin, you can write a comment on YouTube, and I'll be very happy to try and answer that and make that clear things up. All right? Hey, everybody joining on Discord. Glad that you're all here. Deanna, Oliver, Keem, Robert, and U6. Okay. Mangalaba to U6. All right, so we will officially begin in 8 minutes, and I'm just going to step away for a moment, and then we'll be getting started soon, okay? And the text that we are reading through and that we are kind of studying and exploring together, you can get a copy of that text on the Discord server. So if you're in the Discord, you can get that, but otherwise, you can just follow along. You don't need to have the text in front of you. So I will be right back.
How do I fix this? Here it is.
Okay, so I hope everyone can hear me clearly. We are at the 5 minute mark, so just 5 minutes more before we begin. I'm seeing so many wonderful people here on the um, Discord group call, so that is wonderful as always. Hey Crystal, hey Katal, Cindy, Famo, hey. Thank you for joining me here in the ocean today, deep down in the ocean. And U6 about Twitch. Yeah, I can share sometime on Twitch, but it's there's no discovery there. So it's very resource intensive to put my stream there, and I don't there's not really a discovery. So I could spend 3 hours a day every day streaming on Twitch, and no one would come across my live stream. Whereas, like if I share on TikTok or on Reddit, they have a really great discovery. So it's easy to connect with people there. But yeah, sometime I will try on Twitch. And for everyone who is currently watching this on TikTok, we are going to be beginning our group meditation and kind of Buddhist teaching class exploration in just 3 minutes. So if you want to join for that, hop over to the YouTube channel, which is called Monk Life, and that will be a much better viewing experience. And maybe someone who's here on TikTok, you could write in a comment what the name is for the YouTube channel so that people can find that easily. All right, I would definitely appreciate if someone can do that. If you want to join the Discord, I will post a link so that you can join. Um, let's see here. Yeah, invite. Edit invite link. Okay. Here you go. This is our Discord server. Everyone's welcome to join, but keeping in mind that it is a community for meditators and practitioners and not like a debate space or like an intellectualizing place. But you're very welcome to join. Okay, nice to see you, Oliver. Okay, Rudy, I'm happy to hear that. This is definitely an interesting kind of topic and teaching that we'll be looking at today. The title is very interesting, Dragons and Bodhisattvas. What's that all about? Well, we're going to explore a traditional Buddhist text together. And as we explore it, you are encouraged to ask questions and kind of inquire about it. But it's important to keep in mind that this really isn't for everyone. This isn't really so much like a consumable content. This is very much practiced based, and we listen to it and we practice with it from a position of our meditation, of our contemplation, of our introspection. And unless you are in a position to do that, it'd be very difficult to join us and to follow along. Also for Sawadi, to those in Thailand who are watching the live stream, hello there. Uh, please do feel welcome to join us on YouTube. And one last time, the YouTube channel is called Monk Life. And you can find the link to the YouTube on my TikTok profile. Okay, so we're at the 10-minute mark. Welcome to everyone who is here. Today we are going to have part 2 of our group exploration, discussion, and practice of this kind of ancient Buddhist text on bodhisattvas, this bodhisattva way of life, this bodhisattva way of mind, qualities of mind. And what we keep in mind here is that a bodhisattva is not like this magical being, but a bodhisattva within Buddhism is someone who has made the commitment and set the intention, the sincere intention in their life to end suffering, to reduce suffering. So maybe I should have titled this talk Bodhisattvas Only. This event Bodhisattvas Only, because if you're here, the reason to be here is because you have that intention to end suffering, not just to give ourselves some pleasure, but really to end suffering. And hey there to Fung, and hey there to everyone watching on YouTube and here in the Discord server. Okay, so how we usually begin these sessions is just with a few moments to settle in, to get grounded, and to really come into the space in a embodied way. And this is how we approach meditation in general, and it's what we'll do now. So take a moment to find a comfortable and stable position for your body. Take a moment to really look at your body's situation. And looking at that, take a moment to find a comfortable and stable position for the body. And as you find that position, or as you are in the process of finding that position, you can start to take a few deep breaths. Breathing in deeply through the nose and breathing out through the mouth. Breathing in deeply and sincerely, breathing in consciously through the nose. And breathing out through the mouth. And once we start to calm and settle down, we can allow our breath to find just a natural rhythm. So the breath coming in and going out through our nose naturally, simply. And breathing in this way where we are bringing the mind home to the body. So our mind is very skillful, very powerful in jumping around, in telling stories, in having all kinds of ideas and beliefs and, all these things that the mind can do, mental phenomena. As we focus on our breathing right now, breathing intentionally, breathing sincerely, bringing the mind home to the body and really establishing ourselves in the here and now, establishing ourselves in this present experience. Just breathing and being aware of the body. When we feel that space and that quiet, the habit, the mind's immediate reaction is to struggle, to pick up, to grab on to something, some idea, some belief, some story, some physical experience. That's natural, that's normal. Notice it, be aware of it, and then return back to just breathing, just being aware at this moment, not complicated. No need to add anything, no need to take anything away. right here, right now, just breathing, just being aware. And as we find ourselves in this position, this situation, this experience of just breathing and being aware, connecting with our sincerity, connecting with our heart, our lived experience, our embodiment at this moment, we can bring up this intention or bring up this question of, why am I here? Why do I want to end suffering? And this question is not a push to come up with some kind of intellectual idea or answer. That's not what this question is about. Rather, this question is a matter of opening, finding your heart, opening to your heart, the questioning itself as an invitation for sincerity, not for some kind of intellectual answer. Why am I here? Why are you here? What is this? What's happening right now? Where are we? Questioning, curious, exploration. Not through thinking, but through experience, through looking, through seeing at this moment. Just breathing, just being aware. Okay, so let's begin with our reading, our exploration, this talk on the mind, the states of mind of a bodhisattva, or the qualities of mind that support the ending of suffering, the practices that support us in the ending of suffering. The copy of this text is available on the on the Discord server, but if you don't have a copy of it, that's also okay. And everyone on the Discord, especially, and everyone who's joining, you are very invited to unpack, to explore, to question what we're looking at today. It's not simply a matter of, this is Bible study, these are the words of God or the words of the Buddha. Who knows what it is? Maybe these aren't the words of the Buddha. I don't know. We're just kind of exploring them and unpacking them together and seeing what relevance they have for our life, right? That's how we practice. And one final warning or one final reminder, if you are watching on TikTok, it's a much better experience if you go on YouTube, um, and it's a much better place to watch this live stream, okay? So, let us begin, and remembering that this is part 2, and this is not a super beginner kind of text, but we'll try to work through it together. So we're starting here with my reading, and we share as we go through it. Okay. Right off the bat, before we begin, Oliver has spoken up, and Oliver has a question. Oliver, can you use VC? Can you use your microphone to ask it?
Yes, of course. I was wondering if does one actually need to have an official blessing or confirmation from another Buddha before they can call themselves a bodhisattva?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you, Oliver. That's a very, very helpful question, I would say. So we started the last session, part 1 of this, with this kind of explanation of a bodhisattva. So what is a bodhisattva? In Theravada Buddhism, it refers to anyone who has made a resolution to become a Buddha or to become enlightened, to end suffering. In Mahayana Buddhism, it's more emphasized that a bodhisattva, it refers to anyone who has generated bodhicitta, to anyone who has generated this mind of awakening, this mind of a deep intention to wake up, this mind of a deep intention to end suffering, a kind of spontaneous, present-minded wish. And not only for oneself, but for all beings. So if you are in that position, then yeah, you can be a bodhisattva. You can consider yourself to be a bodhisattva. I think that's very reasonable. But we, being a bodhisattva is to have that aspiration, to have that practice, to have that intention. And so it's not a matter of like, okay, you are confirmed to be a bodhisattva. Do you have that intention? Are you willing to make that intention a very big part of your life? Because for many people, there's not, this isn't a main intention in their life to end suffering. And there's not maybe even an idea that it's possible to end suffering. So just that idea that it's possible to end suffering, that it's possible to really deeply establish ourselves in happiness and joy and peace is possible. Not a lot of people perhaps have a connection to that outside of, pleasuring oneself, giving oneself pleasure. Okay? Is it clear?
Yes, thank you.
All right. So, starting with our reading of the text, and the title of this text is Mind of Bodhisattva, Mind of the Bodhisattva, Mind of a Bodhisattva. So I'll scroll back a little bit and continue reading from there. Now, all beings in the great ocean are of coarse and mean shapes, subtle and gross, rough and soft shapes and appearances, all kinds of different appearances, all beings. They all, whether small or large, performed unwholesome bodily, verbal, and mental actions out of all kinds of thoughts from their own minds. So we have all performed unskillful actions, unskillful activities. In Christianity, you would say that we've all sinned, but we don't consider this to be a sin. This is just like unskillful actions. We didn't make the perfect actions at all times. So This is the situation. Thus, it is that each being receives its own result according to its action. So rather than sin, or rather than destiny, it is cause and effect. So thus, it is that each being receives its own result according to its action. So what we are experiencing right now is according to cause and effect. You ought to practice and to study constantly in this way, and also to bring beings to a thorough understanding of cause and effect, and to the practice of wholesome actions. So what does it mean you ought to practice and to study constantly in this way? I mean, I understand it as this quality of sincerity and intimacy that we may be experiencing right now. And that can be brought up by looking at, kind of like a wisdom teachings, from a meditation, from being in community. There's a certain subtlety and intimacy that comes about, almost like a responsibility. We're taking responsibility for our experience at this moment, something like that. So you ought to practice and to study constantly in this way, and also to bring beings to a thorough understanding of cause and effect, and to the practice of wholesome actions. In this, you must have unshakable right view, and you must not fall again into the views of annihilation and eternity. So that will be the views of nihilism, or like a permanent fixed self, not to fall into those views. Now, as to the fields of merit, we went over this briefly yesterday, but the fields of merit are the fields where merits can be planted. So, if we are doing good deeds, it's like we are planting good seeds in our life. And if you plant good seeds in your life, there's going to be good fruits. If you plant bad seeds, if you plant weeds in the garden of your life, what's going to grow? What kind of fruits are you going to have? You're going to have fruits that are maybe no fruits, or sour, or poisonous, or like weeds. So it says here, as to the fields of merit, you rejoice in them, respect them, and support them. So these fields of merit here are listed as follows. The field of reverence. That is the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, teachers, and elders, and so on. These ought to be revered, and blessings will be obtained. So this is a really good teaching, and this is something that's super fundamental in a lot of Asian cultures and Asian societies. Now, it's not necessarily something that we don't have in the West, but it is particularly alive and emphasized in like a Buddhist country or Buddhist society. And so that it's this idea that we revere and we appreciate and we pick up our elders, and we pick up people who have developed a deep compassion, a deep kindness, a deep wisdom. We revere them, we respect them, we appreciate them. And that is a kind of reverence. Actually, this is something that's kind of different from the East and the West, because in the East, they will use this word, or in Buddhism, they will use this word worship. But it's not the same as the word worship as we would use it in a Christianity, because this word worship is talking about reverence, a kind of deep appreciation and lifting up for a teacher, for an elder. When they say Buddhas, that means enlightened beings, people who have ended suffering. And when they say Bodhisattvas, that is a meaning of someone who has a deep aspiration and an intention to end suffering. So we can plant the seeds of good deeds in this field of reverence, in this field of a deep respect and appreciation for those skillful teachers. Secondly, the field of gratitude. That is one's parents and those who have been kind to one. To these one ought to show deep respect, and blessings will be obtained. So that is this practice of gratitude, of appreciation. It's almost a generosity of our appreciation for those who have helped us and supported us. And when you live in that way, at least this says, this is a field of merit where you can plant seeds of, doing good deeds to show your respect and your appreciation to these people, and the blessings will be obtained. What is a blessing? It's a good effect that comes into your life. And finally, the field of compassion. That is to assist and to help with compassion and sympathy to beings which are suffering and troubled, and blessings will be obtained. So where do you plant these good deeds? Where do you plant these wholesome actions? Because a lot of people will ask that, you're saying do good deeds, you're saying do skillful activities. Well, I don't know what the heck a skillful activity is. You mean going down to the 7-Eleven and picking up a couple of Mountain Dews and a few packs of Skittles and getting on Fortnite? No, not necessarily. Rather, you can plant these seeds or these actions, these activities of doing good deeds in the field of reverence. That is appreciation for skillful teachers in the world. And there are certainly skillful teachers in the world. You can do good deeds in this field of gratitude. That is to show respect and appreciation, and even to be generous to one's parents and those who have been kind to one. So you plant the seeds of doing good deeds in appreciation for those people who have been kind to you. Certainly your parents who have brought you into this world. And finally, you do good deeds in this field of compassion. You plant these seeds of skillful activities, wholesome actions in this field of compassion. That is to assist and to help and to be generous with, to be kind to have sympathy for those who are suffering and troubled. And blessings will surely be obtained. I always say it like this. My perspective on it is, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but if you're doing a good deed, if you're being kind to someone, that's a good result. If you find yourself to be cleaning a toilet because you want to help all beings, because you want to make things nice for other people around you, that's a good result as far as I'm concerned. So do good deeds and you will certainly experience a good effect. That's my understanding of it. That's how I approach it. I've been talking a lot about cleaning toilets lately, and I haven't cleaned a toilet. So you can talk about it all you want. You've got to do it. You have to plant the seeds, and that's how you get the effect, right? So just talking about cleaning toilets doesn't get them clean. So as to these fields of merits, as to these opportunities to be compassionate, these opportunities to express gratitude, these opportunities to express a reverence, to pay respect, as to these fields of merit, you rejoice in them. You respect them, and you support them. You cultivate these fields. Because of this, you will also be respected and supported by all beings. So a part of these teachings and a part of these ideas, as far as I know, kind of lines up with a modern neuroscientific understanding of the brain, in that the experiences that we have, even if they are social, even if they are, about things that are going on in our environment, they are totally within our own neuroscientific, our own brain experience. We're not experiencing an outside situation. We're experiencing ourselves. We're experiencing our own chemicals and electricity and all that. And so a lot of these teachings are talking about, look, if you change your mind, if you live in a certain way, reality will support you in a certain way, for sure. you know. And this, not everyone has the opportunity to practice in a certain way. So this isn't to say that like everyone can do this or everyone can experience this, because it's not necessarily true that everyone can. Can a dog understand these teachings? Can a dog cultivate fields of merit? Not necessarily. Does a dog have Buddha nature? Maybe. You know, can a dog experience enlightenment? Maybe dogs are naturally enlightened. That's not the point. So we understand that it's a very rare and it's a very precious opportunity for us as human beings that have the degree of health that we have. And we, you know, at least from some of the people I see on Discord, we have, you know, healthy members of our community. It's a precious, it's a rare opportunity. And it's also a big responsibility. It can be as big of a responsibility as you would like it to be, frankly. So, as to these fields of merit, as to these opportunities, places in which to do good deeds and experience the results of that, you rejoice in them, respect them, and support them. Because of this, you will also be respected and supported by all beings. And remember, this is a conversation between the Buddha and the Dragon King. So, O Dragon King, you must know that the Bodhisattva has one method which enables them to cut off all sufferings of evil destinies, of all evil destinies. And this also means a constant work, a constant activity. We don't take a break. We don't give up. So the more that we invest in these kinds of practices, the more that our practice can become continuous. And so if we are in a position that many people find themselves in, we think, we feel, we want to have this special experience. We want to have this big spiritual experience. And that's going to get us what we want. But in fact, it's more a continuity that we're working for, a continuous practice. And so in that way, it's better to practice every day for 5 minutes a day, at least it could be, rather than, okay, I need to sit and I need to do an intensive meditation retreat. I need to go and live at a temple for a year. That may not bring you much benefit. That may not bring you much peace, because it's all about consistency. And it's something that we want to bring into our life as a whole. And so this, when the Buddha is talking to the Dragon King of the ocean, and the Buddha says, O Dragon King, you must know that the Bodhisattva, or the one that has developed a very powerful, deep intention to end suffering and is practicing it, has one method, which is a continuous practice, which enables them to cut off all sufferings of all evil destinies. So constant work to bring all of the wholesome dharmas to completion and fruition. That means to make the entirety of our life and how we engage to be wholesome and to be skillful. And this method, this one method, enables a bodhisattva, enables a sincere practitioner to cut off all sufferings of all evil destinies. And also we've got some added things here in the notes of this from the translator. This is a very, very old text. It was translated to Chinese, thousands of years ago or something, many hundreds of years ago, and then recently translated to English. So these three aspects of the one method are ways of developing the illumination mind, or the bodhicitta mind, the spontaneous wish to end suffering, this spontaneous wish to wake up at this moment. That is the straight mind, the deep mind, and the mind of great compassion. So we can say that the straight mind is a simple mind, a mind of simplicity, not complicated. Practicing one method, coming back to one method, coming back to the breath, straight, clear, simple. and able to maintain that. So the development of wisdom, that is to recollect and to be aware of this fundamental suchness, reality as it is right now. Not our stories and our beliefs about it, but just for a moment to breathe and be aware, to settle, to be straight, to be simple, to be clear-sighted. So 3 ways of developing that: the straight mind, the deep mind, which is the joyful cultivation of all wholesome actions and the accumulation of immense merits. So doing good deeds continuously. You don't need to just sit and do a meditation to have this experience, to have this bodhicitta come up, but to practice straightforwardly is one way, and to do many good deeds, to be experiencing this deep joy through the cultivation of wholesome actions is another. And then finally, the mind of great compassion, which is the development of compassion, that is the saving and protecting of all beings that are suffering. So we can take up as our path one method meditation, simple and straight mind. We can take up as our path, our way of cultivation, doing many good deeds, and so cultivating many blessings and many deep experiences of joy. And we can also approach it by having this mind of great compassion, which is to work to save and protect all suffering beings. And this is all to support us in the illumination mind, this waking up mind, this cutting through suffering, cutting through delusion mind. So Maitreya said, another bodhisattva kind of type, Buddha type, the illumination mind is the lamp. The great compassion is the oil. The great vows are the wick. The radiance of the lamp illumines the Dharma realms. That radiance is the great wisdom. And so, practicing in these ways, the Dragon King was said to the Dragon King by the Buddha, "O Dragon King, you must know that the Bodhisattva has one method, which enables them to cut off all sufferings of all evil destinies," which basically says this method, this way of practice, enables us to cut off these evil destinies, or rebirth in hellish experiences, rebirth in animalistic experiences, rebirth in self-experiences of deep ignorance. These practices enable us to cut that off. What kind of method is this? It is constantly, day and night, to recollect, to reflect on, and to contemplate on the wholesome dharmas, so as to cause the wholesome dharmas to increase from thought moment to thought moment. Wholesome dharmas is wholesome phenomena, skillful activities, skillful experiences. Experiences that support us in establishing ourselves more and more in peace, in awareness, in a brightness, clarity. So just taking a moment to stop and to breathe and be aware. Would anyone like to share something, to ask a question here, to bring something up? Anything that's not clear? Or just something to share? Okay. All right. Mike says, "This is all making too much sense in my mind." I might be dealing with a lawsuit here. Mike Knowles in the Discord says, This is all making too much sense in my mind. I feel myself letting everything go. I don't know how to describe it. So, this kind of experience, we can be aware of it, we can be with it, not to judge it as good or bad, but just to practice just breathing, just being aware. Simple mind, open mind, mind with heart, right? With care, with compassion, simple. And we all kind of practicing and exploring these teachings together. And Mike also says, I don't do guided meditations often. I usually practice pure mindfulness because thinking gets overwhelming. Okay. Thank you, Mike. So let's continue with the reading. I'll backtrack just a bit. O Dragon King, you must know that one who has set down in their mind the intention to end suffering has one method, which enables them to cut off all sufferings of all evil destinies. What kind of method is this? It is constantly, day and night, to recollect, to reflect on, and to contemplate on the wholesome dharmas. That is the skillful activities, that is skillful experiences. It is constantly, day and night, to recollect, to reflect on, and to contemplate on the wholesome dharmas, so as to cause the wholesome phenomena, skillful experiences, to increase from thought moment to thought moment, without allowing the least unwholesome thought to mingle in. So it's very much that our Buddhist practice, the meditation, the Buddhist meditation approach, is to cultivate a wholesomeness, to cultivate a simplicity, to cultivate a kindness and a compassion and a mind that is not so dark. Really, it is to live in a way where the way that you live is you can share with all. You can be with all. And it's just a wholesome, it's chill, it's good, it's no one can disagree with it. And there are ways that we can be that really are not disagreeable. And so in this practice, we are cultivating those ways more and more and more, thought moment to thought moment, to recollect, to reflect on, and to contemplate wholesomeness, skillfulness, living in that way, causing no suffering. And there's no 10 commandments of this. It's to have a questioning, curious, explorative view. It's to have that intention of what is a wholesomeness and how can I be wholesome in my life? How can I be skillful in my life to reduce suffering? Without allowing the least unwholesome thought to mingle in. This will then enable you to cut off all evil forever, to cut off all unskillfulness or appreciation of unskillfulness. Many of us have that issue. We kind of, yeah, it's unskillful, but I kind of appreciate it. I kind of like it. We could say that's evil. So this will then enable you to cut off all evil forever, to bring the wholesome dharmas to completion, and to be constantly near all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and other holy communities. So when we live in a certain way, when we live in a deeply unskillful way, there's a certain effect that we surround ourselves with unskillful beings, is one way to put about it. Because we're establishing these habits and these ways of mind and these ways of experiencing ourselves unwholesome, unskillful, even like an evilness, right? So then we are putting ourselves near those unskillful states of mind, those evil beings. So what does that mean? You're talking about ghosts and devils and things like that now? No. When you dream, there's all kinds of beings that are around you. There's you, and then there's all kinds of other people and beings and characters and an environment. So the mind is very deep rich, and subtle. It's not just, well, I'm Tim Tommy and I'm a farmer and that's it. It doesn't work like that. So when we are cultivating and consuming unwholesome things, unskillful activities, we're surrounding ourselves by that kind of energy, and it's there, it's a kind of evil. It's a kind of unskillfulness. But if we cut off these evil activities, if we de-emphasize our appreciation of unskillfulness simply because it happens to bring us pleasurable experiences, as if we were like an animal, we shouldn't live like that. If we are able to de-emphasize that, this will enable us to cut off all of that unskillfulness forever, just to finish with it. And also to bring the wholesome dharmas to completion. So to really embody and deepen the skillful, wholesome aspects of ourselves that are really there. We're really aware of that, that not version of ourselves, but those facets of ourselves that are wholesome. And if we give more attention to them, it will allow us to bring them to completion, to really be fully embodied. And also to be constantly near all the Buddhas, all the awakened beings, all the Bodhisattvas, all the people who have a deep intention to end suffering, and other holy communities, other skillful communities, because we'll have a relationship with them through our actions, not through our beliefs. And so that's why they will be near to us. Speaking about the wholesome dharmas, the bodies of people, and it says devas here. I don't know so much about devas and shravakas and pratyakas, but what it's saying is that all the different beings throughout the universe, the highest illumination, they are all accomplished, whatever kind of being you are, whatever kind of situation that you find yourself in, this awakening, this enlightenment, this peacifying of your life is all, for all of those people, it is accomplished depending on these dharmas, which are considered to be fundamental. So these skillful actions that are considered to be fundamental. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are, this is how you wake up. This is how you get the job done. Therefore, they are called wholesome dharmas. So what we're talking about is skillful. It's skillful because it's skillful and it's universal in some sense, because it is contemplative and not based in good or bad. It's based in skillfulness. And so good and bad can exist in some kind of, abstract, absolute way, whereas skillfulness is present-minded. It's about how you get involved with it now. So I would say it's more of an approach. It's more of an intention rather than do this, get that result. These dharmas are the 10 wholesome ways of action. What are these 10? They are the ability to give up forever killing, stealing, wrong conduct, lying, slandering, harsh language, frivolous speech, lust, hate, and wrong views. There's a note here about the wrong conduct. Wrong conduct refers to inappropriate sexual activity. Okay. So unskillful sexual activity is what that wrong conduct is talking about. So these dharmas, these 10 wholesome ways of being, wholesome ways of action, and this is a tool you can use. You don't need to adopt this as like, I believe in the 10 pure, wholesome Buddhist ways of action. It's a tool you can use, simple as that. So what are these 10? They are the ability to give up forever, killing, stealing, wrong conduct, lying, slandering, harsh language, frivolous speech, lust, hate, and wrong views. O Dragon King, if one gives up taking life, then one will accomplish 10 ways of being free from vexations. What are the 10? 1 gives universally to all beings without fear. 1 always has a heart of great compassion towards all beings. All habitual tendencies of hate in oneself will be cut off forever. One's body is always free from illness. One's life is long. One is constantly protected by non-human beings. That sounds nice. I wouldn't mind if I'm protected by non-human beings. One is always without bad dreams. One sleeps and wakes happily. The entanglement of enmity is eradicated, and one is free from all hatred. So when we have what's enmity? What's the entanglement of enmity? When we have a nastiness towards someone, we're tangled up in them. It's not just that we disagree with them or that we don't like them, but we have, for one reason or another, we have gotten ourselves tangled up in not liking them, in our animosity towards them. So if one gives up taking life, then one will accomplish also to be free from the dread of evil destinies, so to be free from the fear of these unskillful realms that we find ourselves in through unwholesome activities such as killing. And finally, when one's life comes to an end, one will be born as a deva. So basically, when this experience ends, we will have a good experience in the next moment, the next life. So it looks like now there's a long list of, if you give up killing, stealing, if you give up these unskillful, unwholesome actions, then you will have these particularly good results. So maybe we will look at a couple more of them. I don't think we'll look at all of them today, but we'll maybe look at one more, and then we'll have our meditation to wrap things up. But at this time, maybe we could ask, as a practice of generosity, if some of the people who are here in the Discord, if you're able to use your voice, maybe you could share about your experience so far, if anything is connected with you or resonated with you. If you could speak up and share about that, then that would be wonderful.
Do you mean our experience during this one session, or just throughout our journey?
Well, your experience with these, as it relates to these teachings that we've been covering. Yeah. Something that stood out to you, or something that you've noticed.
Personally, I've been following and living by these guidelines for many years, and they have brought me great peace of mind. I've already achieved levels of peace and enjoyment of life that even 4 years ago I couldn't even imagine. And a big part of that is embodying these virtuous ways of thinking and acting, and the presence that you speak of.
Okay, Oliver, did you? Oh, you are sharing, Oliver. Sorry, I saw the notification there. The green. Anyone else like to share? Thank you for sharing. Something that maybe stood out in the teaching so far in this text. And you can also
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
go
got
ahead.
something. Let me get to a quieter place.
Okay. Kit's gonna move to a quieter place.
All right. So my main experience, and I'll just say this is as simple as possible, but I've been taking more time to like whenever I'm at work and there's new people that's introduced, I take an extra moment to get to know them, to talk politely and kindly to them. And then I've noticed in taking the time to speak to people with politeness and compassion, that oftentimes that's what I'll end up getting back. And just simple as that. Taking some time to plant seeds of generosity and compassion has been growing a lot of fields of nice, just nice things. Really, it's really interesting to see the difference in compared to if they were to come in and I was to never say anything to them at all, and I was just like, oh, this is your job. Yep, yep. My name's Travis. You do these things here. It's such a difference to be like, oh, hello, welcome here. This is everything you need to know. You can ask me anything, and just giving that polite courtesy to people, it makes such a difference. It's incredible. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Kit. So you're experiencing the result of your doing good deeds.
Very much so. It's so simple, actually. I guess results that are more beneficial to myself and others.
Um, Another thing that I've been able to
Yeah.
natures, and you don't even.
Could you say a little bit more about that?
The way you frame your view of the world. If you see everything as sad and dark and there's so much suffering in the world, then that is the kind of energy you will be putting out. But a happy person won't hurt other people. Um, so simply by changing your frame of mind, the way you see the world around you, you inherently change the kind of action and energy that you are putting out into the world without even needing to consider whether it's right or not.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I also agree. I find that when I kind of fall under the boat with my practice and I don't kind of keep after it in the way that I need to, the world immediately changes. What was bright becomes dark. What was clear becomes foggy. And it's not that the world is kind of subscribing to my brain, but it's that I'm experiencing myself. I'm experiencing my actions and the effect of those actions. And also the perspective, like you said, to have that very present-minded perspective, something we went over in our part one of this, is that, yes, it's true that people exist kind of uniquely with unique differences, and they have effects or they have experiences that come about because of their actions coming from that unique experience. But simply because there is that effect does not mean that you are a separate self or that there is an agency in this effect. It's simply cause and effect. So that doesn't get you out of responsibility, but it actually is a perspective that takes taking responsibility. It's a perspective that takes stepping into your awareness of reality as it is right now, and that takes a lot of sincerity and heart and intimacy to your experience. And you find that when you do that, it's kind of a meditation, and that suffering and that self-clinging and that attachment softens and reduces. But you're not to, when you do that, you shouldn't lose your awareness of cause and effect. That you will continue to be heir to your actions, but simply because you're experiencing the effect from your unskillful actions does not mean that there is this fixed self entity, this continuous self. It doesn't necessarily mean that. And our practice in meditation is to continue looking, exploring, being very intimate and contemplative about our experience. So we don't just, it's not even a Buddhist teaching. Even if you're like really a Buddhist person, it's not a Buddhist teaching that, there is no self, there is no soul. The Buddha didn't teach like that. The Buddha would never encourage like that. It is, what's your experience? And certainly when we look to our experience, just looking out the window, nothing's separate from anything else. It's not even, it's a strange concept to have that idea that things can be separate from one another. Everything goes together. Everything is in this state, in this moment of intimacy and interbeing. As Thich Nhat Hanh says, he says interbeing. And it's soft and it's wonderful, and it allows us to be in community, this interconnectedness, this freshness, this sincerity, this heart, this compassion, this willingness to be with suffering. So it's very skillful. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's see how long we've been going for here. Great. So what we're going to do is, I see that Deanna and Keem and Mike wrote some things in the voice chat text here on Discord. So I would invite Deanna and Keem and Mike, if you would like to share, to read what you wrote with your voice, that would be very, very appreciated. And if you can't, that's all right. I can read it for you. But if you can use your voice, that's great. And then we'll have a closing meditation together. Okay? So I'll read what Keem wrote. Keem wrote, he's been around for quite a while in our community. Keem said, "What I think that helped me a lot to live a more skillful life is helping others and being kind to people close to me. I find that hard work is a lot easier for me if I want to make someone's day happier. But I find it a little bit harder to be generous to strangers." Thank you, Keem. How about Deanna? Did you want to share with your voice? Or would you like me to read it for you? Okay, so I will read it for you, Deanna. It's all right. Deanna says, "For me, connecting to everyone with compassion, I know I've known how important it is in Buddhism, but at the same time, I struggle with it more than I struggle with other teachings. Truly feeling compassion for those that do evil deeds is something I struggle with. Sure, I understand that, Deanna. And for me, I approach it in this way of, it's more that compassion is like we're taking care of suffering. And so the reason that people are doing evil deeds, and the reason that people are experiencing the effect of doing evil deeds is because suffering. And so we can be so sure that those people doing evil deeds have a deep, deep suffering. They have a deep, deep suffering. And so our practice of compassion will naturally extend to that, because of our practice of compassion is based in being with suffering, taking care of suffering, wherever it might be. But we don't have to make it into like an exercise of, when am I going to be able to have compassion for the worst person on earth? We don't need to do that. Be compassionate to your body, to your mind, to your day-by-day experiences, because naturally we're doing unskillful things and we're experiencing a difficulty, right, in our own life. And so we start by developing that compassion towards ourselves. And over time we can extend it. And it's a tool that can help so many people. Those people who are doing evil deeds and causing a lot of suffering, they really need a lot of help. They need a lot of compassion. That's why they're doing those things. But we're not all in a position to help them. But if we have that feeling that, wow, I would like to be compassionate for those people, what we can do is continue cultivating that compassion towards ourselves. And that's going to, to support us to eventually, when the time is right or when the situation comes up, to be able to offer compassion to those people as well. Okay? So we've gone through some of this reading. We've experienced some teachings. I think it was a nice. And then also we are here together in community. We've been practicing together in community for about an hour. So now, as we wrap things up, as we wrap up our contemplative, compassionate gathering together, take a moment to adjust your position. So take a moment to make sure that you're comfortable, stable, and also upright. So we have this idea in Buddhism that meditation is one of the most skillful things that we can do. So when we sit meditation, we want to be comfortable, we want to be stable, and also our shoulders are kind of back, our spine is upright. The human body isn't like a machine, so we can't be, fully straight like a ruler, but the body is upright, and we're sitting in a stable way and somewhat comfortable. Sometimes we can't get so comfortable, so it's to put the body in a position that we can be comfortable with, even if even if it's a little bit uncomfortable. So we find that position for our body and we put the body down. We just let the body be where it is right now. We discard, give up, let go of the body. Just put the body down where it is right now. Place our mind, our focus onto the breath. Feeling the breath coming in through the nose, filling up the lungs, and going out. We are giving our full, total focus to the breath, but even more importantly, we're giving our heart and our sincerity to the breath at this moment. breathing in deeply and fully with a lot of sincerity, a lot of heart. Let the body be the body, putting the body down, just breathing, just being aware. Just breathing, just being aware. Relaxing and releasing any tension that we have in the face. Any tension that we notice in the body. Let go, relax. Just breathing and being aware. Bringing our hands together as an expression of sincerity and reverence, appreciation for all of us together here. We'll just say a short kind of affirmation you can repeat after me. And after we say that, I will say the word sadhu 3 times. And you're welcome to join me in kind of chanting that word sadhu, which means well done, good job. But before that, we would just do this affirmation. Repeating after me. May I live skillfully and be at peace. May I live skillfully and be at peace. May I personally put down and let go of unskillful activities. May those who are around me be skillful and at peace. May those who are far from me be skillful and at peace. May all beings be skillful and at peace. May all beings let go, detach from, and put down unskillful activities. May I and all beings be at peace. May it be so. May it be so. May it really be so. Sadhu. And we can bow if we like, if it's comfortable for us. Okay, so we made it. Thank you everyone so much for joining in this practice together. I look forward to seeing you all again. And especially we can watch out for our Buddhist book club, maybe part 7. We're on chapter 3, chapter 2 of our Buddhist book club. And that will be on Saturday at this time. So tomorrow at the same time, we'll be beginning chapter 2 of The Art of Living by Thich Nhat Hanh. And you can get a copy of that book on the Discord server. But even if you don't have a copy, it's okay. You can join. All right? So thank you everyone so much for attending, and look forward to seeing you all again soon. I really appreciate all of your practices, and I really trust everyone here that you really are practicing and getting involved in taking care of your life, and I really appreciate it. I'm very grateful. All right. Bye for now.
Thank you,
Thank
Bante.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.